Give it a minute. Hey, Fab Girls, welcome back to my How to Look Fashionable Over 40 interview series, where I speak to other over 40 fashionistas who are going to tell you their top tips on how to look and feel fashionable. Now, I know we always speak fashion, and that's really important, but today I have a different kind of guest for you who I still would love to hear her fashion tips because she's got her own personal style going. We are speaking today to Suzanne Noble, and she started out the Facebook group called Advantages of Age. And I have to tell you, there were some very fun and exciting events that she's going to tell us about, the things that they got up to and the fun that they had. But really, the group is around challenging and changing the narrative about aging. Suzanne has a very big entrepreneurial background. She's a serial entrepreneur. She had a PR company for over 20 years. She is now doing a tech startup. So she's done a myriad of exciting and wonderful things. But today we're going to speak about aging and doing it gracefully and with lots of fun. So Suzanne, welcome. It's so wonderful to have you here.
Hello, nice to be here. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Awesome. So Suzanne, tell us, how did you start Advantages of Age and why did you start it?
Well, it's a very funny story. So basically, I have a hot tub in my garden, and every month, some girlfriends of mine, all between the ages of sort of 45 and in their 60s, would get together and we just talk as girls do about all sorts of stuff, whether it was relationships or work, just life in general, our kids. And we're full of life. We're really creative. We're really feeling great about ourselves. And somebody said, why is it that everything that we read in the media about getting older just is about how much it sucks? Why aren't we ever reading anything positive about getting older? And we should start something called Advantages of Age. So I was like, wow, that's a great idea. And being very impulsive, which is either good or bad, depending on how you look at it. It's gotten me into trouble in the past. But so I went, they all left. I looked up Advantages of Age, saw it was available as a website name, bought it. Everybody went off. This was Christmas 2015. They went off on their holidays, came back, and I said to them, right, so I bought the domain and I'm building the website. And they went, what website? And I went, Advantages of Age. I bought it and I'm building it. And so we launched it in March 2016. One of the women in the tub, we call them the women of the tub, by the way. One of the women of the tub is a journalist and an editor. So she started getting some of her friends to write articles. I started writing some articles. We got other people writing, and then we started curating some of this stuff that we were finding on the web that was pro-age. So things about sex, co-housing communities, just about, feeling good, inspirational people. And it's grown. There's almost 1,000 articles on there now from everywhere, from articles we find on Medium to the Wall Street Journal. And then the Facebook group came later. We applied and were lucky enough to be given some money by the Arts Council to run a series of events around age, which we did last year. And one of them was around style. So we hired a double-decker bus and we kitted it out with a big banner on the side with a big illustrated gorgeous banner that said Advantages of Age Stylistas, flamboyant forever. And then we invited all these people to come on the bus and to look as colorful and as flamboyant as they possibly could. And then we kept getting on and off the bus, wandering up and down the King's Road, Marble Arch, kind of big sights of London, strutting our stuff. We had a little boogie box and we made a film about it. And we got that group of people together because a few months earlier, I'd set up a Facebook group really to try to grow this community of people that we noticed, were writing to us and reading our stuff online, but really we wanted to engage more with them. So we started this Facebook group. It's now coming up to 3,000 people who are all over the place. They're not just in London, which is where I'm based. There are some in New York. There's people in Australia. They're really all over. And that really helped get that group of people together for the bus. And since then, we've had other social events, and now we do like a club night. So it really kind of galvanized that community. But yeah, so that's a little bit of background.
I think that's awesome. It sounds like you are having so much fun. And tell me, how is it making people feel? I mean, those kind of activities and those kind of events, what are the responses that you've had?
I suppose that the most encouraging and the most amazing responses are from people who thought that, all those dressing up clothes that had been languishing in the back of their closet, and they thought they were going to have to give away to charity shops because they had no excuse to wear them. They said, well, we've now got an excuse to bring out our fancy clothes and our dress up clothes. And also there were a lot of people who frankly were looking for people like them, or looking for, people who also felt really good about getting older. And London is such a big city, that it's really hard to get people together. And I think that what happened on that bus, especially on that day, and in our Facebook group now, is that people are now making friends. They're going off and having their own social events. They're meeting up, privately. So it's really given them so much of a sense of self-worth. They feel like that they actually are not invisible, because invisibility is such a massive thing for a lot of people. Some of that has alienated people as well, who perhaps thought that we were just about, dressing up, and that there wasn't really anything particularly deep about any of that. It was like, oh, this is quite a nice kind of superficial thing to do. But since then we've done other things. We have a business academy that we're running, and lots of other things. And I'm really trying to get across to people that, yes, sure, if you want to use your clothes to express yourself, that's brilliant. But if you just want to dress all in black because that just makes you happy and you're really comfortable like that, that's okay as well. Like, we don't all have to feel the need to be colorful all the time.
I think that's so important what you're saying, Suzanne, because, I mean, in New York, the advantages of age movement has been amazing. And they're these very colorfully dressed women, and, they're real fashionistas. But not everybody wants to dress that way. I mean, I look at Iris. Iris is, I absolutely adore her and the way she puts her outfits together. But even for me, that would be quite way out. And I'm not afraid of wearing way out things. I'm thinking probably as I get older, I'll probably become more flamboyant. But I think the important thing is that people are given the space to be who they are. And not that something is pushed on them. I've had other discussions with, other sort of fashion people over 40 saying, well, not all of us have gray hair, and not all of us can rock the gray hair look. And so what about those of us who do want to dye our hair? And yeah. I think that there's so much, we don't want to create yet another stereotype. We actually want to say, we want to do away with stereotypes. We want to create a world and a space where people can be who they are. And if they want to wear all black, fabulous. If they want to wear bright color, fantastic. It doesn't really matter. It's not important.
No, I agree. And I think as well, the advanced style movement in New York is so extreme in one way. And I meet a lot of younger people, especially, who just immediately, when I talk about fashion and older people, that's their go-to, right? That's their sort of like, oh, I hope when I'm 70 or 80 years old, I can look like that. They look amazing. They're, so fabulous. I think that there's a danger in making that the go-to place for older people, and that we're fetishizing, again, what it means to be older. And I think we need to break that down and not say that, if you're not this, then you're that. I mean, we need to just broaden the whole discussion out. And I think, yeah, listen, before advanced style came along, I don't know what those women were doing, but when I had an event in New York, and Deborah Rappaport came to that, who's part of the advanced style movement. And, they're now, again, they're a social group, they're friends, they meet up. So for me, anything that encourages people to feel less lonely and to make friends is brilliant. Like, if it's because of the way you dress, fantastic. If it's whatever it happens to be, you love poetry, wonderful.
I absolutely agree with that. And I think, what's amazing about the advanced style movement is that it shows and it proves that fashion and getting dressed up and having fun with your look is not age specific. And that's what I love about it. But there will always, not everybody is going to want to express themselves in the same way. And I think it's so important for us to, once again, I've said it before, but to create a safe space where people can be who they are, connect with one another, and not feel irrelevant.
That's right. And I mean, I think positive aging takes lots of forms. It's like, for us, it's about, keeping people remaining in work, which is a much bigger challenge for a lot of people over 50. Is, I don't know what's happening in South Africa, but certainly in the UK, lots and lots of people over 50 are finding it very difficult to remain employed. So, if we can again give them a way for them to feel valued, that's fantastic. If it's through meeting people through social events, if it's through dressing up, that's great. So for me, there's lots of different areas of this, and the way that we look and the style element is just one part of it. And I think also the hard thing is, I'm very, very focused personally on the I changed my hair color quite deliberately around 3 years it's coming up to 3 years now, because I did not want to be another blonde 50-year-old woman. Like, I would just go into a room and everybody had blonde hair. It was just like, that was the thing. And I just thought, you know what? I'm feeling invisible now with my just blonde hair. And so I decided to just like do this to my hair. As soon as I did this to my hair, it was like the biggest icebreaker in the world. I get on the New York subway, people are like going, God, I love your hair. I go to a party, I go out, at anywhere I go, it's just like the one thing that people feel it's okay to talk to me because I've got very identifiable hair, right? And it's crazy, really, when you think about it. But I don't, my hairdresser said to me, that's it, that's your look, and you're not changing it. That's it. You're sticking with this one. But for me, not being invisible was really important to me. Like, I spent my 40s looking like Marilyn Monroe, just wearing like little tight little dresses I used to put my hair in curlers, and, and I always had to wear heels. And then I turned 50 and I definitely felt a change, with the menopause and all of that, and thought, this really sucks. And I need to do something about this, because I'm not feeling really good about myself. And and as shallow as it may be, if dyeing my hair pink is going to be the one thing that makes me feel like I'm still here, like, I'm still a woman and I can still get some attention, then that's what I'm going to do,
You know, I relate to so much what you're saying, Suzanne, because so many women say to me, well, this whole thing of getting dressed and styling myself, it shouldn't really matter. But it's not about the clothes. It's not about the hair color. It's about how we feel about ourselves. And I think what you're saying is so important, because what are the ways that we can help ourselves feel not invisible? How can we create ways of creating conversation and engaging other people? And I think, Suzanne, for you, it sounds like it was really around expressing a part of yourself and finding a different part of yourself to express. Because don't we at every different, at different stages of our lives want to express different things about ourselves? Because maybe along this journey, we actually discover a whole lot of other stuff that we didn't even realize about ourselves.
Yeah, completely. And I think I was used to getting a lot of attention in my 40s. And I just was, when I suddenly wasn't getting any, it wasn't like I just felt, it wasn't that I didn't feel valid but it was different. And I think that I know a lot of women who feel exactly the opposite. They're like, I am so grateful. Probably a lot of young women, for instance, I'm always interested in how very beautiful young women deal with aging, because I had spots until I was 40. So for me, my youth was not associated with being attractive. I was slightly overweight. I had pimples. I didn't feel that great about myself. And, and then I went and had kids and blah, 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 blah. And then all of a sudden I got to an age where my skin cleared up, very, obviously very late. I lost a whole load of weight. I suddenly felt like a totally different woman at an age where a lot of young women probably start feeling fairly invisible. So, I came to feeling not invisible quite late. And when when I hit my 50s and I felt invisible again, I was kind of like, no, I really enjoyed that feeling.
So it sounds like you kind of went through the acceptance of feeling invisible, and then you found your kind of point of interest, and you started feeling really good about yourself, and then it went again so quickly. I mean, like what the really? But Suzanne, good for you. I mean, I find that inspirational, because what I'm hearing is you're being really honest and actually very vulnerable about what it feels like as a woman, because I think that we can glaze over these things very easily, but they're very real. And I think a lot of us are feeling this way. There may be women who have been extremely beautiful in their youth, like you say, and then suddenly, they're not getting the kind of attention. And then how do they feel about that? And then other women seem to be able to age gracefully and do it, with greater ease. Like, what do you think the secret is to doing this age thing in a way that works for us?
I think a lot of it just boils down to where you get your validation from, right? So I'm single, and I have in my 50s kind of rediscovered my female friendships. And now I have like an amazing group of women who give me a lot of support and a lot of love. And that means a lot to me. And my relationships with men tend to kind of like, I've got lots of friends, and
yes, friends, Suzanne.
And I think that a lot of it just boils down to, feeling loved, right? I mean, when I look at my mother, who's 80 years old, just turned 80, and she's aged really gracefully. She looks amazing. She's been married to my dad for coming up to 60 years. She doesn't really relate a lot to people feeling bad about aging. She's a very dynamic woman. She's become a jeweler. She's always learning. She's like, I can't really relate to a lot of what you're saying about people lacking confidence, because for her, she's been in a stable relationship. She's got kids. She's got things that she loves to do. I mean, I think a lot of it boils down to keeping your mind active. It's, the people that I see that are the most just pissed off about getting older, the people who don't have enough to do with themselves. They're not learning anymore. They're not keeping active. They're not exercising. They're not keeping their mind active. They're not learning. They're not socializing. And they're just basically sinking into this, unfortunately, media narrative that tells us that's what we should be doing, right? Past 50. We should just sit around and watch TV all day long.
And that's crazy, Suzanne, because we're living longer than ever before. I mean, if I think, so I'm 44 now, and if I think I would retire at 50 and then have nothing to do, I think I would go absolutely insane.
Yeah.
There's just no way. And to me, what I find so important, and the psychology books that I've read and all around neuroscience, they say what you don't use, you lose. So it's really important to push your brain to learn new skills. I mean, last year I had a hectic learning year. I mean, I upskilled myself. I did online courses. I upskilled myself on certain things. I learned new video editing software. I learned new camera. I built a website from not knowing how to do it. I mean, I really, sometimes I felt like my brain was going to just get completely fried. But now I look back and I actually can markedly see how my memory has improved, how my ability to do certain things online has improved. I actually can see that my brain has developed in those areas because I pushed myself to learn new things. And now with online, there's so much you can do. There's so much that you can learn that you don't have to even necessarily go to university and do a degree to keep your brain active.
Yeah, completely. And I think there's one of the things that I've noticed through running this business academy is that for so many older people, there is a certain lack of confidence about them feeling they can learn new things, right? So people just saying, I don't think I can learn how to build a website myself. I don't think I can learn how to do video editing. I don't think, I'm not a techie person. This is what I hear all the time. I'm not a techie person. I'm like, honestly, there's 2 buttons. That's all you need to press. It's like start and end and start and end. This is not challenging stuff, but there's a mental block with a lot of people. Whereas, you see with younger people, they're just running with it, right? You say to them, you want to be famous, set up an Instagram channel. They're like, oh, I just set up an Instagram channel and I just invited all my friends and now I've got 300 new followers. And you're like, great, that's great. Let's just keep going, see how it goes. But with older people, I do find sometimes they need a bit of a like, come on, you can do it, right? So a lot of what we as people in this space need to be doing is just letting people know that, you know what, you can do it. It's not that hard. And giving people the confidence to be able to go ahead and just make a start. I would say, just start. Just start.
And that's very interesting because I interviewed Civil Disobedience a while ago, and she was saying that the increase in apps, in fact, the people over 50 are buying, they are the ones buying the apps. I mean, the statistics are going through the roof. So once people get onto technology and realize that it's not as scary, I mean, look, we haven't been brought up with it. The kids of today, they've been brought up with it. They were almost born with a cell phone in their hand. So they know how it operates. But when we understand that, okay, so maybe we can just learn 1 or 2 things, then it can grow our confidence to going more and more. And I think that is with kind of everything in life, really.
No, completely. It's just, they just have to get started. But I do see that there is a fear factor around it. So
I think that's very real. Yeah.
Around all of this is there a huge amount of fear. What if I fail? And I suppose I've got a technology startup, and I was doing an interview with an academic this morning about ageism and gender and all sorts of things. And I suppose one of the biggest things is that as an older person, failure seems it's a bigger deal. So as a younger person, you may start something, and if it doesn't work, you just go, oh, it didn't work, and you just move on to the next thing. And I suppose part of the fear around starting is, well, what if it doesn't work, right? And with my technology business, I've been going at it for 4 years now, and it's finally really starting to move in the right direction, and lots of exciting things happening. But I just can't fail. It's like in my head, I'm like, no, this is not, I can't. Like a few years ago, I probably wouldn't have been thinking that way. But now I'm thinking, no, I really need to prove to everyone I got some investment. This is going to work. Right. So yeah, people are more, they're scared of trying because they're scared of failing. So
I hear you. I hear you. So I'd like to come back to your hair because we've got to bring it back to fashion in some way. So I'm really interested in how you decided that you were going to change the color of your hair and that was going to be your point of difference.
God, how did I decide to do it? Oh, I know. Okay. So, so one of the women in the hot tub had a stripe of pink in her hair, blonde as well. She's a PR woman. And I said, oh, I really like that. Maybe I should do that. So she's like, yeah, just do it as a temporary color that washes out. See how you feel about it. So I said I was going to do it. And I have two boys in their 20s. And I told them, oh, I think I'm going to put some pink in my hair. They said, no, please don't. Please do not do that. Do not do that. Because all my friends, all the girls that they hang out with, they've all done that. You are not going to do that. I said, no, I think I am. I think I'm just going to give it a temporary thing anyway. So I put some pink in my hair and then there was, they saw me and they were like, actually, that looks pretty good. Validation from your kids, a big thing.
Yeah, because teenagers do not lie about how good you look.
No, they're 24 and 26. So they were 22 and 24 at the time.
Okay.
So then I thought, okay, I've been doing this for a little while and on the temporary thing. And then I thought, no, everyone's accepted it now. And I've had a lot of positive feedback. So I'm going to go for it. So this actually is a permanent color that is sort of diluted down a bit. So it's not quite so purpley, but still a bit purpley. And that's, and it's just there all the time. So.
I think it's amazing. I think it's really great. So tell me, Suzanne, on a personal level, what do you do for yourself to feel really good about yourself?
To feel really good about myself. Well, I go to the gym. So I started, after I had my kids, I started getting into fitness. Then I got really into it. I trained to be an aerobics instructor. And now I go to the gym. Like I was there at 6:45 this morning doing a class. And I suppose for me, just feeling really fit, like strong. I'm not really concerned about being slim, but just like feeling strong, muscular, and healthy is really important to me. And I think for any older person, being fit is really super important, and
I keep hearing that. I mean, everybody that I speak to, whenever I ask them what is their secret to looking and feeling good, it's generally around diet, it's around exercise, and it's around loving your life. And I'm hearing and having fun and staying active and doing fun things. And the exercise thing, we just cannot jump that. We cannot get away from it. It just is reality. You have to do it.
Yeah, and I think the thing is that most people as well, the science around exercise says that the older you get, the more you have to do a lot more strength training, increase your bone density, do weights, stuff like that. So I see, lots of my friends like doing like yoga and stretching or whatever. And for me, I just do more weight-based activity, kettlebells, cardio, weight stuff. So that's one thing. Just socializing with my friends. I love cooking. And so I'm always having people round. And I don't know if you've got it in South Africa, but we've got this big thing, which is like, it's kind of like HelloFresh. Do you have HelloFresh?
No.
So what it is it's actually another service called Gusto. It's the same sort of thing. So a box comes to my house once a week. It's got all the ingredients in it to make 3 recipes, and they're different every single week. And every week I just cook myself. I take myself off like 3 times a week, and I just break for lunch because I work from home, and I just cook for an hour, and then I sit down and I have a really nice lunch all by myself, and I love it. And it's just like a nice little break during the day.
And Suzanne, what I'm hearing is it's also about valuing yourself. It's about taking the time and then cooking something that's good and nutritious and healthy and
Yeah,
enjoying it,
yeah.
relishing in it. So sometimes it's the small things, it's not the very big things that make a big difference.
No, completely. And I mean, healthy eating is like super important to me. I mean, it goes along with fitness. It's just, if I'm not, my mother was a nutritionist and I come from a total foodie family. So food is like a huge thing for my whole family. My kids cook. My mother's a great cook. So it sort of just runs in the family. I can't understand people who eat junk food. It's
Mm,
just
mm.
not in my world.
Mm. Suzanne, thank you. This has just been so inspiring and so amazing to chat to you and hear your thoughts on aging and how to make yourself stand out when you're not feeling so good about yourself. And I have to ask you one last question. So, what do you do for fun?
That's not something I can disclose on this channel.
Whoa! Okay, enough said. Girls, take notes. What she didn't say is sometimes saying more than what she's actually said. That's awesome, Suzanne. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And your last words of advice for, I say women over 40, but women over 40 means actually anybody beyond sort of 35 and onwards, which is a huge age group. But anyway, what would be your closing thoughts and your closing advice to women as they age and as they deal with this whole thing of becoming invisible?
Um, I would say, do whatever makes you feel good is the main thing. Because I think just generally it's just around being happy, right? So we just have to do whatever that takes to feel good and to feel fulfilled, and don't be afraid to go for it because there's really nothing to lose.
Mm, I love that. Thank you so much, Suzanne. So, Fab Girls, I'd love to hear from you. I mean, I'm truly inspired, and there's a lot for me to think about. But I'd love to hear from you in the comments below. What did you find the most relevant for you? What did Suzanne say that really resonated? I'd love to hear in your comments below. Also, if you are new to my channel and you do not want to miss out on other inspirational interviews like this, then please feel free to subscribe to my channel. And ladies, hit that little bell, that notification button, because that's the only way that YouTube is going to let you know when I upload new videos on Tuesdays and Fridays. Also, if you'd like to be in touch with Suzanne, I will be putting the details in the description below so that you can get in touch with her, follow her on Instagram, go onto her website, and also be inspired and join in this clan of finding other people who do not want to feel like they are irrelevant as they get older. So ladies, I'd love to hear from you. Thank you so much for watching. Till next time.